What is up, you guys? I think my name is Ian, and today we're going to take this old desk and give it a modern makeover. If you've been around my channel and watched some of my previous videos from like a decade ago, when I used to post stuff regularly, you might have seen this desk in there. Most of my stuff was edited on Windows Movie Maker sitting right here. Now this thing has seen a lot of better days. It's got a lot of water stains from pastels. This was an art table for a while, computer desk, dirty laundry pile, you name it. And so in this day and age where many of us are working from home, such as myself, we're going to give this a makeover and repurpose this thing so that it can serve a purpose once again. But before we get started, if you like this type of content, I have a ton of other projects planned that I want to do videos just like this for this channel. So if that's stuff that interests you, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, give me a like, give me a dislike, share it, don't share it, but your feedback is helpful to help me figure out what content to make for the future. With that being said, we got to get some supplies, so we're going to head to the Home Depot. Let's go.
Now, the very first thing that I did was take some very fine grit sandpaper just to go over the top, clean it up, and remove any of those just light surface stains that I could in order to get it ready for staining. Then I began measuring out where I was going to cut my hole that I was going to use to put my wire management grommet for my monitor and all my other computer hardware. Then I just wiped it down with a wet rag to make sure all the dust and dirt was free from it before I applied the stain. Now, one of the mistakes that I did make was leaving the stain on for too long. I wanted it to saturate the wood really well because I was going for a darker look, but what I discovered is that if you leave it on too long, it gets gooey and gummy and then you can't really wipe it off. Now, there's a couple things you can do to remedy this. One is to use mineral spirits to get it off. I discovered that if you just apply another coat of stain, let that sit for just a minute, then you can just wipe everything off. It'll loosen all the other stuff up that was on there. Once I was happy with the stain, I moved it to the backyard, put it up on some cinder blocks, and got it ready for paint. I used masking tape to get the fine edges, and then once that was in place, I came back and used some newspaper to cover the larger areas to prevent overspray. Start applying the first coat, just dusting it on so that the rest of the paint going forward would have something to adhere to. It was about this time I realized that I needed more paint, so the next day I went back and picked up a couple more cans. Well, I continued painting. Morty decided to do his thing. While the paint was drying, I moved on to the drawer. I started by measuring out the holes I was going to need to drill to add the drawer handle. I used tape where I was going to drill the holes just to prevent any tear out on both sides. So with the tape in place and my measurements marked, I began drilling the holes. But of course, my camera decided to die before I got to that point. I removed the tape, added some paint, and began letting that dry. Once everything was dry, I began removing the masking tape and newspapers, and then just touching up any little edges that may have gotten a tiny bit of overspray and wiping those off. I gave the top of the desk one more final wipe, and then I began applying the wipe-on polyurethane. Now, originally I was going to paint the board that goes on the shelf white to match that side of the desk, but last minute I decided to make a change and add a little more contrast to that side. So while the poly was drying on the desk, I took the board and I gave it a nice stain and polyurethane that as well, before assembling it all back together.
Oh hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. Consider subscribing, consider giving us a like if you've got suggestions or recommendations of things I could have done differently on this project. Leave those in the comments below. I am no expert, so your feedback helps me, helps the viewers, and otherwise, we will catch you on the next one. Turn out good? You like it? Give me a hug. Yeah, give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Oh, good boy, good boy, good boy. Yeah, yeah. Don't scratch this thing up. Let's go outside.